Guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks a lot for checking out today's exciting video. If you saw the thumbnail there. Guys, I wanted to do an experiment here because I get so many people out there that say Randy's a clickbaiter and Randy does nothing but put clickbait in. Well, I'm going to do the anti-clickbait video. I'm going to do the most basic bread sandwich title in the world that nobody can call clickbait, how to fish a plastic worm, and we'll see how successful it is. I sort of want to make a point here, guys, that you cannot be successful in the YouTube world unless you have clickbait titles, because you dudes aren't watching the videos. If I tell you guys how to fish a jerkbait, nobody watches the video. If I tell you guys the best color for jerkbait, nobody watches the video. I have to rack my brain every day to come up with some type of a title that will get people to click on the video, and it's not easy to do a lot of times. So believe me, I would love more than anything to put these videos out there and just say how to tie a knot, how to use a bait cast reel, but nobody watches it, so therefore the reason for clickbait. So anyway, I wanted to do this video, how to fish a plastic worm, the most basic 101 topic in bass fishing, and we'll see how many views this video gets here. So given that, we'll start here showing about how to rig a plastic worm. Okay guys, I'm going to get into this basic 101 rigging here. Actually, there's a basic 101 rigging, but there's also a lot of variables involved in rigging and fishing a plastic worm that a lot of people overlook. So I've sort of got my own twist on it here. So we'll start out with just the basic, guys. You know, just your bullet sinker. Your sinker weight is totally dependent upon a lot of different factors. It depends on how deep you're fishing, how heavy the cover is. It depends on how thick the cover is. Obviously, if you want a slower fall and you don't have much cover to penetrate, you're using a lighter sinker. Sometimes I'll use down to a 16th. And then on the other end of the spectrum, if you're penetrating really heavy cover like matted vegetation, I may be using a 1 ounce sinker and everything in between. So not one size fits all. I literally, guys, I have 32nd ounce, 16th, 8th ounce, 3/16, quarter, 5/16, 3/8, half, 3/4, 1 ounce, and 1.5 ounces. I carry in my boxes, and I use all of them throughout the course of the year. And I couple that, guys, with a straight shank Gamakatsu G-Finesse heavy cover worm hook here. I do not use the EWG. One of the tips I'll give you guys in plastic worm fishing is the EWG hooks are easier to rig, but your hook setting ability and your fish landing ability will go up tremendously if you use these straight shank hooks like this Gamakatsu model. And also, guys, don't overkill hook size on there. You want to make sure that your hooks are a little bit on the small side, because you want penetration over power on a plastic worm. So I usually go to very seldom will I use anything over a 3 or 4 aught, even in a big worm. Say for example here, this is a 3/0 Gamakatsu. This, in my opinion, fits perfect in this Zoom Old Monster. This is a 10-inch worm here. So I'll show you a little bit about rigging. Another thing about rigging a plastic worm is plastic worms like this Zoom Old Monster here, they have seams in it. And if you look closely, you'll see like a line going down one side of it. And that seam is in line with like the tail here. So you want to put your hook right in line with one of those seams, excuse me, because when you do that, it gives the tail a little bit better action. So come through about 1/4 inch, and you want to make sure you come through far enough so you'll have your hook eye and your knot inside the worm where it's not sticking out. So come all the way through where it's like that. And then you want to skin hook these things. Don't ever put your plastic worm back in the center of the worm like that, because you're basically making it weedless to the point where you're going to lose fish. So all you need to do is come in and just skin hook it a little bit in the side like that. This makes it 100% weedless, yet when you get that bite, that hook will break away from there like that, and you'll hook the fish a lot better. Also, most of the time, guys, I do not like to peg my sinkers. I like them to slide freely. I think that it gives it a more natural presentation. The only time that I do peg it is if I'm trying to penetrate, you know, thick cover. Now, as far as fishing a plastic worm and working a plastic worm, it's pretty basic, pretty simple. You know, I'll just make my cast out there, you know, let it hit the bottom, and I'm just sort of hopping it off the bottom, working my rod tip up, just maybe 2 or 3 inch hops at a time. Then I'll throw it back out there. I'm not dragging it. I'm not popping it hard. I'm just sort of shaking it as I lift my rod tip up a little bit, and just working it slow like that. I get a lot more bites than if I try to actually hop the worm off the bottom or anything like that. So it's almost like shaky head fishing a little bit, but with a bait caster. One of the things about a worm that is different than a jig is I like to hop my jigs off the bottom. I get more bites, but I get more bites on a plastic worm if I just sort of shake it and pull it up like that, working it very slow. And the other thing about a plastic worm, it's a really good lure for catching both aggressive and non-aggressive fish. That's why a plastic worm works so good in any condition. It works good in sunny, cloudy, rainy, windy, no wind whatsoever. It's a bait that probably, is the most consistent as far as in a variety of conditions. It works in dirty water, it works in clear water. That's why it's probably the most popular lure, category of all time. But anyway, guys, there you go. Basic 101 tips on how to fish a plastic worm. We'll see how many views this video gets without being clickbait. And again, appreciate you guys checking in. We'll see y'all later.